Bowbenchers back with you. Today's topic is draw length. Very, very important. You have to have it, precise. It can make a difference in the way you shoot, especially your left and rights. So we're gonna go over everything draw length today. Stick around.
Alright guys, so one thing that's really critical when I'm setting my draw length up, I'm right around a 28 and 5/8, give or take a 16th 8. That's pretty much my sweet spot, so 28 and 3/4. But it took me a while to figure it out, and like Cullen's explaining to you earlier, it's really a feeling. You just gotta shoot a lot, get in your groove, and try a half-inch longer, half-inch shorter, and just play with it and see what feels best for you. And your main thing is when you're at full draw, you don't want to be scrunched where you feel like you're having to come into your string and your back elbow here. One of my coaches in the past has worked with me a little bit. He refers to this as a lever. So you don't want your lever being in at all. You want it to be in line with your stabilizer, your arrow, your line of sight. Everything's in a straight line. If your draw length's too long, you'll be kind of hyperextended, which is bad too. And you don't want to be scrunched. You want to find that happy medium where you hold best. Some people like this arm bent, some people like it locked. It's just a comfort thing. So for me, it takes, when I get really, really close, and this is a new bow, I had to go through these steps with this bow, setting it up, getting my draw length perfect. For some reason with this bow, it's got a longer axle, so my string angle is not as aggressive. So it's about I think, 1/4 of an inch difference in my draw, and that's just where this bow holds better. There's no, I can't really explain it. It's just a matter of what feels right. So you got to play with it, shoot it, see where you grip the best. If you notice, out of 30 shots, you're missing 3 times a little left, then, a lot of times you need to bring it in, a touch, or bring it out. You just got to play with it. But that's pretty much all I got on draw length.
So tell them, I just thought of this. How do you adjust draw length? Like, as far as, I know you can take it to the bow shop and they can adjust it, but guys, if you're at home, you can tell your bow shop guy to twist your cables a little, and that'll help. That won't increase it or decrease it by 1/2 inches or inches. You'll get what I was talking about, that feeling of just a little more, a little less.
Yeah.
So tell them that. Don't just go in there and say, hey, I need my draw length longer or shorter.
Yeah, if you're wanting to do 1/2 inch or even 1 inch adjustments, just come in here, and all the mods and cams are different. This is what I'm accustomed to because this is the bow I shoot, but I like setting this one just on favoring the weak side at 29, and then I'll set this somewhere on about 28 and 3/4 on my string stops. But if you get really, really close, there's a couple tricks you can do with these mods and get it the exact feel you want. But if your mod doesn't have a pin in it or adjustability there and you have to change them out and it's in a locked position, you can put twist in or take twist out of your cables and your string to kind of manipulate that back wall feel and to really fine tune. If you want to get an 1/8 of an inch out of your draw and you only have 1/2 inch adjustments, then like Cullen's saying, go to your bow shop and see, tell them you're within an 1/8 of an inch, you want a little more extension, or you want to come up just about an 1/8 because your anchor's not just right, then you can actually manipulate that by lengthening or shortening your strings by putting twists in or taking them out.
More quick tips on draw length. So if you've got it in the ballpark and you're like, okay, I don't want to take it to my shop to have them twist the cables, it might be a while or whatever, you can also, some options, see how long my D-loop is? That right there, I've got my bow draw length set on about 29.5. So instead of me twisting cables, having to hold more weight, less weight, I just made my D-loop longer. It doesn't change the draw length of the actual bow. It's still set on 29.5. I've had that talk with people that disagree with me. They're like, if you just lengthen the D-loop, it doesn't change your draw length of your bow. That's right, but it does change the draw length of you. It does make you settle in more. So if you feel like you need a longer draw length, just buy a little. Don't go messing with your D-loop if you're short an inch or even half an inch. Like if you're off just maybe a 1/4 inch or less, then you can mess with your D-loop, make it longer or shorter.
And by doing your D-loop, if you find you're real close and you want to add 1/8 of an inch or something, adding it in your D-loop will get less facial contact on your air shaft and less contact on the tip of your nose, because what it's doing is allowing your hand to settle further back on your cheek versus being scrunched up and leaning into your string.
And this is up in the air, but we've actually tested it, and this all depends on how much weight you're holding, your let off. So if you have a really low let off and you're holding 70% and you're holding back 25 pounds, this doesn't matter as much. But if you're shooting, let's say just example, an elite that you can hold back with your pinky, it really does matter. I would suggest getting a longer D-loop anyway, and again, set your draw length should be whatever it should be, but getting a longer D-loop, because when this string is back at full draw and it's under very little tension, when you twist this to go into your anchor, especially with a handheld release, a thumb button or anything like that, where you're going back and you're twisting, it will twist just a little bit. This string right here, when you're twisting this to get into your anchor, it'll twist that string instead of it just going straight back. It'll manipulate just a little bit this string. So now if you're shooting a wrist rocket, a wrist strap, ignore what I just said. It does not apply. So tips today for draw length. I can't express how critical draw length is. A lot of people out there are shooting what they think is their right draw length, and it might feel good, but I promise you, if you experiment just little by little going forward and backwards and find that sweet spot, you'll see your group shrink.